are now, in fact, live on YouTube. It's super exciting. Everyone, please wish the folks out there a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone, and
away we go, Rabbi.
Welcome everyone. This Shabbat is Parshat Ki Tisa. It is a Shabbat that involves us in thinking about questions of idolatry. It involves us in thinking about questions of the divine encounter that Moses has face to face with God. It is a powerful Torah portion. And I hope that everyone at a certain point will want to solve the riddle of our Torah portion. We'll put that up for everyone to see. I know that there's people who've been working on it since it was published, and we'll have clearly an answer. Would like to invite everybody that is not speaking at this moment to mute. And Cantor, could I invite you to set the mood of our Shabbat service with a song to bring in the Sabbath?
Absolutely, Rabbi. We'll go with an oldie but a goodie here. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi, we'll ask that you unmute if you don't mind, sir.
Yes, I'm going to invite everyone to rise as the Shabbat candles are lit, and Cantor is going to lead us in the bracha, and invite everyone to join us.
I will lead, but off to the side so that you can actually see the candles be lit. Very exciting. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue with the Kabbalat Shabbat service, and Cantor's going to put the service on the screen for us to see.
There we go. And we'll start with a little Lechu Neranana, Psalm 95. Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Ladonai. Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Ladonai. Naria, Naria, Letzu Yishenu, Nekadma Fanav Betodah. Naria, Naria, Letzu Yishenu, Vizmirot Naria Lo. Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Ladonai. Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Ladonai. We'll fix my camera so that I'm not completely lopsided. Now I'm just out of focus.
We continue with the Psalms that welcome the Sabbath, Psalm 96, Shirul Adonai Shir Chadash.
Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
This Shabbat, as we begin to reckon with the preparations for Passover, the tradition has that we begin the process of creating a order in our lives, the symbolic spiritual preparations for Passover move us from the chaos of Purim, where everything is upside down, and we have the experience of what was unusual in Jewish history. The Jews win, the Jews succeed, people dress up in costumes. What was unusual in Jewish society, cross-dressing, and the Jewish woman who deceives the king and turns out to be a Jew that is not only secretly sleeping with a Gentile uh, a husband, but is able by that subterfuge to save the Jewish people, to the profound process that takes 1 month later of God's entry into Jewish history. And we begin that process by sitting at a meal that is ordered. We, in fact, call it a seder, the idea that there is a historically ordered process by which we discover um, freedom, and it is through a meal that we um, use as a symbolic accounting for the process of Passover. Would that it was the case that what we see reflected in the ritual um, uh, actually the case in our lives. Instead, I think as we look out, we are discovering that the world is in tremendous chaos. Those of us who are concerned for the situation in Israel are aware of the profound activities of hundreds of thousands of Israelis in the streets day after day, concerned for their democracy, and a growing understanding that democracy for Jews means also taking account of what it means for the country to be a country not only for its Jewish citizens, but for citizens that are not Jews as well. This is a profoundly surprising time in our Jewish history, and I know that many people are anxious about it. So these psalms that we're in the middle of reciting provide a sense of comfort, a sense of the historical direction that Jewish life has had apocalyptic times, and we turn to this next psalm as another way of finding ourselves in that process of reflecting and being a part of Jewish life. Mizmor Shir, Shiru Ladonai Chadash.
And we'll pick it up halfway down, which is on the left-hand side of your screen, with a Rabbi Rothblum melody for Zamru Ladonai. Zamru Ladonai Bechinor, Bechinor v'kol zimra, B'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, Arli lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam umlo, Tevel ve'yosh ve'var, Neharot yimcha uchav yachad, Harim yiranenu, Lifnei Adonai kiva, Lishpot haaretz, Yishpot tevel b'tzedek, Ve'amim b'mesharim, Yiram hayam umlo, Tevel ve'yosh ve'var, Neharot yimcha uchav yachad, Harim yiranenu.
We turn to the Chadodi.
And because I am doing this from home, take advantage of this opportunity to shift guitars and officially use this guitar in a service, which makes me happy because I love this guitar, but also because then I can claim it's a tax deduction. So that's kind of the perfect thing. So we will do our traditional melody from our dear cantor Leonard Cohen. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad B'shem ultiferet velit hila Lecha dodi likrat kala.
You can't hear this, can you? See, I don't know how to change it.
Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki makor ha'beracha Merosh mekedem nesucha Sof maseh b'machsheva techila Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Itoreri, ki va'orech kumiori. Uri, shidaberi, kevod Adonai elaich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We'll go down to verse 9, and if you are able and not currently playing a guitar, please rise. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'v'tzola toch emune am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Thank you, Cantor. Everyone, find your seats again. The psalm that acts as a resolution and a vision of what the Sabbath day not only should be, it's the capstone of these psalms that we recite. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat is a vision of a more perfect time in the future. We conclude these psalms with Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat.
And for once, we will do the first part of this psalm. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov Lehadod L'Adonai Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov Lehadod L'Adonai Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon L'Hagid B'Boker Hastecha Ve'emunatcha Ba'elot Alei Asor Ve'alei Navel Alei Higayon Ve'chinor Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov Lehodod L'Adonai Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon.
We recite the Chetzi Kaddish that leads us into the service proper.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ואלמד דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב והימרו אמן. ישמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וירומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמה להימרו Amen. As we rise for the Baruch Hu, la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la Baruchu et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed
We turn to the first prayers that lead into the Shema, that acknowledge the presence of the wonders of nature that surround us. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamari v'Aravi.
We continue with the prayer that acknowledges the role that Torah plays in our relationship to God, having created a bond of learning and study, a guide in our life.
As soon as my guitar cooperates, I apologize. Well, sorry, we have multiple guitars. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta, otanu lemadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu Leorech yameinu Uvahem Negei omam v'layla Negei omam v'layla Le'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael.
We join together in the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue with the celebration of the redemption from Egyptian slavery. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. Your word, wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from the their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously.
We now move to the Micha Mocha on the left hand of your page. We'll borrow a melody from Isidore Fried. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Malchutecha ra'u banecha, בוקי הים, לפני משה ומרים, זה ליענו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazach mimenu, baruch atah, Adonai Gaal Yisrael.
We join together in the first three prayers as the cantor, Ashkivenu, prayer concluding the Shema. Cantor leads us in the nighttime prayer as we conclude our day.
And on this very rainy night, we will turn to the phrase Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha.
Spread over us your tabernacle of peace.
Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros Shelomecha. Yalai lalai, yalai lalai, yalai lalai lalai, yalai lalai, yalai lalai, yalai lalai lalai. Spread over all of us your sukkah, your sukkah of shalom. Spread over all of us your sukkah, your sukkah of shalom.
Now, my friends, we turn to the Amidah prayers, and invite you to rise as Cantor leads us in the first three prayers that will inaugurate a moment of silent prayer for us, and then we'll come back together to conclude the Amidah.
Adonai Sephatai Tiftach Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up our lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Konei HaKol, Ve'Zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמנת על החיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We invite you to continue with the rest of the prayers on our screen or with your own private prayers, and we'll come back in a moment.
Please join me on the right-hand side of the page for our prayer for peace, Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
My friends, as we contemplate the presence of this week's Torah portion, it occurs to me that this question of the golden calf, which is often understood as a discussion of how easily we fall into idolatry, is something that is not taken too seriously by many people. We often think that idolatry is a thing that was a matter of slaves who didn't quite understand the power of all that they had been through, and that we are beyond the stone and golden images that are described in the Torah portion. We've discussed in past years the presence of the idea that we have our own forms of idolatry in our ability to worship our wealth, our comfort, our ability to very clearly think that our creature comforts are things that are more important. I think this year, as I think about the idolatry that we face, I think it would be our political ideals. If I think about the political ideals that I have had to face, it is that somehow the state of Israel was an entity that would find its own way, that it was a foregone conclusion, that it was safe, and that it would be a place that would be a place of refuge for American Jews, that it would be a democracy, and that it would be a place of Jewish flourishing. And I think the events of the last 3 months have brought to the minds of many people a growing recognition that the country is about to teeter away from its democracy. The judicial system is being challenged, and the judicial system is being undercut. And many people have begun to try to think about why that has happened. Those of us who've been thinking about this issue, I would argue, I've been thinking about the issue almost my whole life, have pointed to a number of things. I think clearly the fact that the attempt to occupy another people has been the central reason that Israel has lost its ability to function as a democracy. Many people have come to recognize that, yes, there is such a thing as an enemy, but one cannot, for actually the length of my entire adulthood, it has been the case that there's been this occupation of the West Bank, and there's been pitifully little effort to really end the occupation and to find a solution. People want to debate the issue. Tonight, I don't want to enter the debate. I simply want to say that the occupation is connected to the crisis of democracy. We can argue about how and how things could have been different and so forth. I want to suggest that for American Jews, the challenge has been formulated this week in yet another way, and that is that much of our sense of who we are as Jews was allowed to be formulated by the welfare of the state of Israel. And I would argue that many American Jews, especially the younger generation, don't have the same connection to Israel. I'm still of the generation where my parents are survivors, and in 1967, when the Six-Day War broke out, I went to be a volunteer. It was clear to me that the fate of the Jewish people was connected to that time, and my whole life has been tied up with not only the political and military concern for the fate of Israel, but also what I consider to be the most important part of what we need to do as a people, the cultural revival of the Jewish people. All my children and grandchildren are fluent in Hebrew, and are people, young people who are comfortable in the state of Israel as a part of their cultural heritage. You cannot have a situation where people are committed to the Jewish people without that very basic commitment to the Jewish languages. At one time it was Yiddish, and for some people like myself who grew up speaking Yiddish, it still remains a source of nostalgic connection, but the Hebrew language remains central. In this week's column, Friedman suggests that we Jews in America must really motivate ourselves to recapture a commitment to being responsible for our own commitment to Jewish life. I think that means a renewed connection to teaching our kids not only the Jewish religion, but the Jewish culture. It means becoming bicultural, bilingual, and that is a difficult thing because most of the people sitting here do not have a second language that's a Jewish language. And it means the fact that it requires a reorientation to the fact that language and culture are much more important than geography in terms of establishing a person's identity. I say this knowing that many people find this to be very problematic and maybe beyond their reach. So what's the second best thing that we can do? I do think that we come into the season now of the Israeli films and the American Jewish films, and that is another way of making a connection. I say this when we come into the season of all of the remarkable classes that are being offered in Yiddish and Hebrew that are for adults, that are for really directed to people our age. I know, for instance, our president is involved in a forever task to improve her Yiddish. She was attempting to work out some Yiddish words. But those are the kinds of things that become primary. And here I would argue that these cultural and learning activities make us what I would call diaspora Jews by the fact that in the diaspora, our homeland are our books. In the diaspora, our homeland is our learning. And Jewish learning becomes a way of preserving our identity. I hope that in the experience that we will experience as we come to Passover, people are planning that important Seder as the opportunity for children to be charmed and into connecting to the rituals and the events of that holiday, and preparing an opportunity for them to see in their grandparents a love of Jewish tradition that they will want to carry forward. I wish everybody a good Shabbos. I hope that this Sunday, if it's not raining too hard, maybe people will join us at the 11 o'clock demonstration to support our Israeli brothers and sisters in front of the federal building. There is a recommendation that I've conveyed to Karen that those people who are members of the board consider supporting the process by which the bonds.
See, look.
The bonds people get the message that Smotrich is not someone that we consider a proper representative of the Jewish people, and that we raise our voice to support the democratic efforts, that we have to ride both horses at this time. The support of the democratic forces and the reinvigoration of our Jewish life here in America. Wish you a good Shabbos, and I hope that even though we won't have a in-person service, we will have the opportunity to be celebrating together online during this month of March. Cantor, can I invite you to please lead us in the prayer for people who are ailing?
Absolutely, Rabbi. Should we do some names first, or would you like the first half and then some names and then second half?
I think first half and then names, okay?
Sounds good. Let me get the screen share up and running then, and we will do that. Avotenu Mekor Abraham Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. Let us say, Amen.
So we invite people to put their names in chat. We have Michael. We have Debbie Rogaway, Elaine Espy, Terry Abravaya, John Strain, Judith Lipman, Miriam Batlea, Ellen Henry, Anna Henry, Tamara Bat Rachel, Donna Loken, Gina Papa, Vance Tyree. Are there other names?
Holly?
Go ahead, Polly.
Go ahead, Polly.
I don't know how to do chat, but I just Pat Stapp.
Okay. Other names verbally? Andy Hyman, Abichail, Meredith Liano. Thank you. Marcia, go ahead.
For me, Hannah Malka.
Hannah Malka. Okay.
Thank you.
Cantor.
I will add my mom, Ellen, my little sister, Anna, Rabbi Steve Robbins, Rabbi Craig Wyckoff, Rabbi Mordechai Finley, and my son, Jonah.
Like Finley. Oh, he had surgery. Ugh.
Misha berach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Cantor. We rise now for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו Ushemo echad.
Thank you, Cantor. Before we recite Kaddish, I'd like to invite our president to bring us up to date on um, the plans for the Passover cleaning of all the pots and pans that she's organized. Go ahead, please.
Because I am an expert. Yeah, 5 thumbs up. Before we get to Pesach, I don't know why there's an echo, but I'm hearing an echo. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get to Pesach, next Saturday morning, we have Torah study in portion. May we have no rain, or at least not a heavy rain. So that is on the schedule, and I hope we see all of you. It would be so fantastic if all of you, those who are in LA, are here next week in person. Other than that, let's see, what are we doing for? I just went and got my calendar, so I can let you know in advance of what else is cooking. So that we'll have Torah study next week, and then we have the 4th week of the month off as usual. April 1st, we will have a Torah study, and it is Shabbat Hagadol. And maybe Rabbi, you will, I know that means the great Sabbath. And, but Rabbi, you can tell us why in a moment. And then we are doing things a little different because there are 5 Saturdays in April, and it's the Saturday is the 1st. So we are going to then skip a week and then wait until April 14th to have Shabbat in person at the church. And then the following week, which will be the 4th Saturday of the month of April, we will have Torah study in person. And you will, of course, be sent all of that the week of each event, as usual. And I think that's all I've got to say. Rabbi, tell us about Shabbat HaGadol.
It is the great Sabbath, as our president has said, it is marked by a very profound reading of the prophet that says, "Behold, I announced the coming of the Messiah, which will constitute the turning of the hearts of the parents to the children, and the hearts of the children to the parents." And that's, of course, what the Seder is supposed to do, to bring families together. And we will study a little bit about the Seder at that time. I do want to call your attention to a very important lecture that is happening Wednesday, March 26th. Very important professor who's coming from the University of Ottawa. His name is Jan Grabowski, who has spoken for our Freighted Legacy program. He was the professor that was sued by the Polish government for supposedly defaming a mayor of a town during World War II. He subsequently prevailed in that suit. It's a complicated suit. He'll be speaking at USC. It's in the middle of the day at 11 on March 26th. I'll send you the information. It's free. There's a lunch afterwards. And I think it's very important for people to, if they are free, to make their way to USC to at least attend the lecture. he has written some of the most important material about what happened to Jews in the period of time after the ghettos were liquidated, and people tried to survive in the forests and in hiding places, and what was the response of the Polish public. He's a friend of mine, and I've followed his research for years, and he's isolated. And one of the things we can do is to be a support to him and his work. He's been hounded by the Polish government, and he's a profound scholar, and I hope that people will take the time to come and hear him. We'll get you the details, and I hope that you'll come and hear him.
Rabbi, could you give the date again, because did you say in the middle of the week on March 26th?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Okay, that's not March 26th. March 26th is a Sunday. So
Okay, so
if you send it to me, I will send it out.
yeah, I will give you
looked it up. I think it's the 29th.
Okay, so it's the 29th.
That makes sense. That works.
Yeah. I sent it to my Torah study group, and we'll give you the dates, and you have to register for it and so forth. And some of you may have heard him if you were at the Freighted Legacy program.
Is he back in Poland now?
So he's originally from Poland, and he here I have the materials. I'm just going to put it in the chat for you. But when he is not teaching, he goes back to Poland because that's where all the archives are. That's where all the materials are. So he goes there, and when I was there in December, we had coffee together. So there's the materials, and there's the link for the lunch and so forth. I do want to say hi to Giddy, who I'd love to. Gadi, are you still there? Gadi? Maybe we can get them back. Hi. Could you unmute and introduce yourself? Okay.
We may need the technical support of Jeff Warner again.
Yeah. Okay, now you can hear me.
Yeah.
Hi.
You're a cantor, and how are you related to Jeff and Elise?
Well, I'm her, I guess, brother-in-law. I'm married to Jeff's sister.
Oh, okay. And I hear that you're an Israeli.
Originally, I'm Israeli, but I'm here from 1969, so I don't know.
Okay. And where do you live?
In New Rochelle, New York.
Aha. Okay.
But I'm a cantor in Long Island.
In where?
Long Island.
Long Island. Okay.
Conservative synagogue for the last over 20 years.
Very nice. Very
My
nice.
hometown, New Rochelle.
Yeah, what city? I'm from Long Island.
Oh, it's Oceanside.
Uh-huh.
I'm the cantor of Oceanside Jewish Center.
Long commute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting for me to listen to the music that you've chosen for Kabbalat Shabbat, which is my favorite service. Because it's short and melodic. Yeah.
Good.
So it was interesting to see. I use different melodies, but that's I used to perform in the Israeli Hasidic Festival many years ago.
Mm.
Nice.
I used to be an Israeli performer before that. So
What's your last name?
Oh, he's frozen.
If-
You're well, maybe you'll come back. Gadi, we welcome you. We're glad you're a part of our service tonight. Appreciate your being part of it. And next time you come, we're gonna put you to work.
okay.
Well, how long are you going to be here?
Praying is not work.
Don't tell our cantor that. He gets paid.
I have the same problem.
How much?
Yeah, not much. That's right.
Yeah.
Any other announcements?
I just want to tell you my parsley is growing.
Your what?
My parsley is growing.
Your parsley is growing. We got everybody to grow parsley, horseradish. Anybody else growing anything for the Seder?
I'm growing the parsley.
Parsley.
It's doing very well.
Claudia, I meant to tell you that I have an extra parsley for you. Those of you who've managed to somehow kill your parsley will help you.
Thank you.
And
No
the
guilt.
liqueur
No
is
guilt.
superb.
Yeah.
I followed your directions for the liqueur.
And how is the liqueur going?
Excellent.
Good. Gadi, we have a do-it-yourself congregation. We have people who are growing horseradish. We have people who are growing parsley, and we have people that took the etrogim that are grown in our cantor's backyard, and they are using potato vodka.
Well,
And see, now he's paying attention.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to have potato infused. We're going to have the taste of Sukkot at the Seder table. So
we usually close the service with Tfilah L'Shlom HaMedina, the prayer for the state of Israel. And because you spoke about it, maybe we can close it with Tfilah L'Shlom HaMedina.
that's a possibility. I think people are reciting a little different version of the prayer these days. Instead of reciting a prayer for the different members of the government, they're really reciting a prayer for the people of Israel instead of the Memshalah.
That's the one that is a very famous melody for the Avinu Avinu Sheba Shamayim Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo Avinu Avinu Sheba Shamayim Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo.
Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. We are going to invite people at this time to add names for Kaddish, people who are reciting names for, would you please share names? Holly?
Makiko Lowenthal, Diane Warco.
Thank you.
Jack Nevins, my father.
Jack Nevins. Rabbi Shana?
Bina Mitchell.
Haim Topol.
Haim Topol.
He died.
Yeah, Kaddish.
Passed away. please join us in Kaddish. Um, Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yomah yivrach kirutei yamlich malchutei. Chayei Chol Beit Yisrael. V'agalav zman kariv v'yimru Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah v'vorach le'olam ulmei ulmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei D'Kudusha Richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Shukata v'nechemata. Tamiram v'yomam v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya. Chaim aleinu v'al Yisrael imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'meromav. Uya aseh shalom aleinu v'al Yisrael imru Amen.
Amen.
Cantor Andy, I'd love for you in just a moment to sing us out. And I want to just acknowledge that we had an incredible forum with the presence of Rabbi Shana here. We hope that there is a recording somewhere. We thought it was just amazing. The only regret I had was that we weren't in San Francisco with you. It was wonderful. Thank you.
I'd like to know if there's a recording. I missed it.
We are working on that, and I am hoping that after Shabbat I will be able to get a recording that I can post and send out the link to for everyone. If you missed it, or if you didn't miss it and just really want to relive it one more time or 5 more times, or make it a weekly thing that you watch it, or
My grandkids are waiting. They're waiting.
Excellent. Okay, we will not leave your grandkids waiting, Rabbi. We will work on it as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Somebody had mentioned Haim Topol's passing, and I would be willing to bet that there are millions and millions of people in this world for whom Haim Topol was actually the first Jew they ever saw. Having grown up in a place with a Jewish population that you can count on one hand, so in that spirit, I figured I would end with the music of Jerry Bach and the text of Sheldon Harnick. And if you don't know who they are, you will in a moment. May the Lord protect and defend you. May God always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Yisrael a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen us, O Lord, and keep us from the stranger's ways. May God bless you and grant you long life. May God keep you and shield you from strife. May the Lord protect and defend you. May God always shield you from shame. Favor us, O Lord, with happiness and peace. O hear our Sabbath prayer. Amen. Shabbat shalom, my friends.
Shabbat shalom.
Beautiful, Ken.